Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Silent Hill 2 commentary. So, are you ready to row your boat?
Ah, it's the final leg of the journey.
Yep, they kept this in the game too for some reason.
Well, it's a moody moment. It's also a nice breather after the Eddie boss fight. Does
I
go on
suppose
a
so.
does go on a bit long though. There is something about rowing across a lake in the fog. Also, it's the kind of moment where you expect something scary to happen, so when it doesn't happen, it throws you off a little. So, it's a nice breather, but also not so much, depending on your mindset.
So you really just have to actually row the boat the whole way across the lake.
Yep.
It is intensely funny that they made a boat rowing mechanic for a sequence that nothing happens in. I mean, to be fair, there are entire games built around this idea of nothing happening while you just experience something. So,
Oh, walking simulators.
I mean, genuinely, yes. The term is thrown around derisively a lot, but you know, there is definitely a place for those kinds of games.
I was going to say, like, it's not just so-called walking simulators. It's also games like Flower, um, and whatnot, where it's really just about being a flower petal floating around through beautiful scenery. I mean, you have a goal, kind of, but, like, it's not the game you play because you want to beat it. It's a game you play because you want something pretty and calming to do.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Can you get lost on the lake in the boat? Because you can change your
Not
direct.
really, no.
Well, because you can change your direction by only paddling one oar. I've noticed.
I gotta say, it's a really user-friendly boat. It only turns in, like, increments of, like, 45 degrees.
Yeah, your clue is to follow the light.
It's a good thing James has enough batteries for his pocket flashlight in order to make it through the whole journey.
Okay, that wasn't as long as it was in the original.
Probably runs on D's, actually.
In the original, that took a bit longer, I think.
Yeah, I think they shortened it a smidge, but it was in the original, so it's here now. Yeah, welcome to the final dungeon of the game, the hotel.
We're going full Stephen King now.
Yep.
If you need help handling existential terrors, please check the enclosed instruction book.
At least it isn't a secluded hotel in the snowy mountains.
Then he's a caretaker for 6 months.
Thinking about it, the owner of that hotel in the original novel is probably down a lot of money, and that was the most horrifying thing to happen. I mean, in the book, I'm pretty sure everyone except the husband survives, unless there's
That's
other
actually
people.
unusual for a horror movie where most of the people survive except for the villain.
Well, I mean,
Like,
in the movie, like, only the wife and son escape because the black guy fucking dies. But, like,
Because, of course, he does.
yeah, in the novel, he survives and actually has a pretty good relationship with the kid. Uh, there's a sequel novel starring that kid. Now that I think about it, I haven't read it yet. I only saw it like a year and a half ago. I'm like, oh, I should read that sometime.
in the
Uh,
novel, it's more implied that something supernatural happened to the dad, right? Because in the movie, there's a very easy argument to make that he just went nuts from isolation.
well, he got possessed by something um that by some spirit or something or other that existed in the hotel. And the reason it's called The Shining is that the kid has an ability called The Shining that lets him detect and interact with such things. Um, so.
I don't remember the movie too well, but I remember thinking that like Like, there's creepy stuff happening, but you could make the argument that there wasn't anything supernatural happening in that movie.
Yeah, you could make the argument that maybe the dad was just crazy. No, the place was haunted.
There was other stuff too. Again, it's been a long time. It's a less sound argument than something like the what am I thinking of? The first Blair Witch Project, where you can extremely easily make the argument in the first Blair Witch Project that there was nothing supernatural happening in that movie at all. That those kids just were dumbasses and then went crazy going camping in the woods. I don't know if the sequel or the other sequel changed that at all at any point, but if you go back and watch the original, it can just be them going crazy.
In that sort of found footage thing, the ambiguity is an intentional part of what makes it scary, because you know the people who found the footage aren't gonna fucking do anything about it because they're going to assume the kids just went crazy, you know? But the implication is that there is supernatural stuff. It's just supernatural stuff that's never going to be proven.
In more modern versions of these, the supernaturals definitely leaned into a lot more. Is it The Happening, the name of that other movie? Where it's all found footage?
Well, that's just because modern pop culture leans toward the more explicit, because the idea of sinking time and energy into, you know, interpreting stuff is something that's seen as kind of nerdy.
Yeah, how dare someone, enjoy and think critically about what they like.
I mean, it was always seen as kind of nerdy. It's just that the genre, certain genres used to be deliberately geared toward their specific audiences, and now that they've achieved mainstream success, they're watering certain elements down so that they appeal more to the mainstream, you know?
It's always sad to see that kind of stuff happen. Like, not everything has to be an extremely cerebral, like, sit there and think about what this means kind of movie. There's absolutely room for crowd-pleasing, mindless kind of movies. But with the same thought, like, there's also plenty of movies that crowd pleased that pleased crowds. There we go. That's the grammar we want. But also, had more going on behind the curtain,
Yeah. To be clear, I'm not, like, against the existence of crowd pleasers. I just get pretty cynical when crowd pleasers happen and the entire market turns in unison towards said crowd pleaser and says, let's all do that because it's sold. And then suddenly you have less of the interesting stuff alongside more of the... It unbalances the genre, is what I'm saying. It's basically what happened when Resident Evil 4 got popular. A bunch of horror games shifted over to action, and then the intense horror stuff got sidelined hard. And that's why you can't get a copy of Haunting Ground for anything less than $300.
Oh, God. What I gotta do is, if I get a time machine, on top of all the other shit I gotta do if I have a time machine, I gotta be like, 15-year-old me, go buy all these PS2 and GameCube games that you might want to play one day, and save yourself a good $1,000. Because they're $5 in a bargain bin right now, and they're going to be $300 in 5 years.
Good old return of investment.
I wish I could say buying stuff in the bargain bin was a good thing to do at the time, but, like, I wound up having to get Castlevania Curse of Darkness very recently, because when I did get that in the bargain bin back in the day, I got a copy that wouldn't play past the first castle.
Oh yeah, that is true. That, if you're
if your game just happens to have a scratch on it, at least when you buy stuff on eBay nowadays, people tend to test this shit out, because they don't want to deal with the hassle of someone demanding a refund from half a country away and having to ship the thing back, and they want to keep those positive ratings on eBay, you know?
This is interesting to see Mary's perspective on James, because, like, this is the first, like, look into what Mary was actually like as a person. we've gotten all game pretty much,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Happy 8th birthday, Laura.
Who
Your friend.
Laura is who Mary is as a person isn't super important because like it doesn't really change anything about James's actions. um and James's actions and his mindset are all a part of are all the like the most important thing about what Silent Hill is doing. But it does help to remember that by default Mary was a really good and caring person, because it's very important that James Sunderland not be justified in his actions. Understandable, comprehensible, yes, but not justified. What he ended up doing was not a good thing at all, even if it is like he's supposed to fall into like the ethical blurry blobby middle ground between Eddie, who's obviously a terrible person, and Angela, who's obviously a victim who lashed out. Between the three of them, they cover the entire ethical spectrum for why someone would commit a murder. From the justifiable to the entirely, like, not justifiable. I say the entire ethical spectrum, but, like the actual far end of evil is really only accounted for here by Walter Sullivan in vague mentions.
Well, yeah, because Eddie does have a bit, like, he mentions, like, oh, they made fun of me and whatnot. And, like, yes, that it is shitty to get bullied, but, you know, you want to know what's also shitty? Murdering people. So, you know.
I mean, being unhealthy and going off the deep end and becoming an aggressively terrible person is not good. You know, obviously not, and it's obvious in how Eddie is the fastest one to fall into his bad ending, and probably had no hope of achieving a good ending in this whole mess to begin with. But yeah.
You know, you could chase after her, James, instead of stopping, watching her run away, and then chasing after her.
The Silent Hill Downpour does cover some more, like, complicated versions of this scenario. Because Murphy Pendleton, I think that's his name, Murphy Pendleton, he's a murderer too. And he to start with, has a pretty understandable reason for killing the person he did. Like, his first victim, there are two of them, his first victim was this disgusting human being, convicted murderer and pedophile who killed his son. You know, going after him makes sense. Probably didn't have to because the guy was already in jail, but he did. And that, of course, led him into the situation where he killed someone who absolutely did not deserve it.
Oh, was that like to keep himself from getting caught kind of
deal? No, actually he made a deal with a corrupt police officer. He didn't understand what he was getting into at the time, but he wound up killing a genuinely good person. Like, the one person in that particular prison who was a genuinely nice guy. 3 guesses why that corrupt officer wanted that guy dead. Anyway, yeah.
Interesting. So, remind me, in Silent Hill 1, the guy you play as, what did he do anything? Because it's been a long time since we've done that commentary.
No, Harry didn't do anything. He was just a guy who wandered in.
Yeah, what brought Harry Mason to Silent Hill was his daughter, who was part of Alessa and was being drawn back to the other half of her soul. So there was no well, I wouldn't say there was no dark reason, but there was no personal reason for him going back to Silent Hill. It was just a place his daughter Cheryl wanted to go because she had a vague desire to go there after seeing the resort in an article or something. And they were going there to take a vacation because Silent Hill, believe it or not, is a resort town, or used to be. It's still a little ambiguous what Silent Hill is when you're not actually going there for supernatural reasons.
And then Heather in the third game, like, had been through some shit too, but she didn't kill anybody.
Heather's the baby from the end of the first game, so she's Alessa reincarnated, basically, and she's being pulled back in intentionally by the cult so that they can try again at the whole birthing a demon god thing. That whole situation sounds kind of trite, but Heather is such a great character that it elevates it.
It's interesting then. I mean, I know that if they had like this cult story they wanted to tell, they're going to continue doing that, but the, kind of Silent Hill's going to attract, weird and fucked up people to the town. It seems like just such a slam dunk premise for, being able to make games over and over again.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I guess they did try to make games over and over again. That's something. But...
Well, yeah, but they didn't really try to focus on that side of the plot again until Downpour. I guess, what's his name? Travis from Silent Hill Origins was kind of pulling double duty because he had his own stuff that factored into the Silent Hill nightmare, but the story was also a prequel to Silent Hill 1, so it was deep into the cult stuff.
Okay.
The thing about the cult stuff is that it's layered on top of all the other supernatural shit going on in this town. So.
Yeah. It's. I think the implication is that because of all the other supernatural stuff going on in this town, a cult developed around it. But it's a murky narrative angle because the cult was obviously the starting point of Silent Hill as a series, and the town being supernatural in its own right was only really explored in the sequels.
That is true, because if you look at the first game in isolation, it is just a story about like a cult, a cult showing up in this one town, and then, Silent Hill being an entity of its own seems to like have been more established in this game specifically.
Yeah, but like the implication in the first game was that like the supernatural stuff going on in Silent Hill was radiating outward from Alessa, who had psychic powers. And especially if you read the news article that you can find in the European version but wasn't included in our version for some reason. I showed that in our playthrough, but especially if you read that, it's like it's meant to even more strongly imply that it was her who started everything, really, and the cult kind of like piggybacked off that. But it gets more complicated every time the cult comes up, really.
Yeah, that's why I kind of hope the remake of 1 kind of smooths things out a bit more.
Yeah, you can't do a remake of 1 without having the cult there, unless if they want to. No, you can't. That would be throwing.
No, I don't mind having the cult there. It's just a matter of, is the town doing it? Is it Alessa doing it? Is it some other thing? Just kind of just say the town is supernaturally weird.
I wonder what connection Silent Hill F has to all this nonsense. Since it's happening literally in Japan.
In the 1960s.
In the 1960s, yeah. Does it have a connection at all? Or what?
I have not seen the ending of the game, so I am not sure.
This is not your cue to spoil Silent Hill F in the comments, for the record.
Yes, I still want to play it. I'm going to get it on GOG eventually. I just need to know if it works on my computer first. And I obviously need money, and it's going to be a while because I'm like deep into the Trails Kool-Aid right now.
Oh, I'm playing the demo of that right now, actually.
Oh, are you? Let me know how it appeals. But like Silent Hill's supernatural weirdness leaving the town is not unprecedented in this series. In fact, I'm pretty sure both Silent Hill 3 and 4 mess around with that idea in different ways. Like
they do. It's just one of those, like, how did it get all the way across the world 50, 70 years ago?
Yeah.
There's just like a trail of Silent Hill weirdness that stretches all the way across the globe. And so like random parts of Wyoming are just randomly haunted because they're in the path between Silent Hill and Japan.
Hauntings in Wyoming, and now I'm thinking of Parasite Eve 2. Great. Okay.
Parasite Eve 2 takes place in Wyoming?
I don't
That's-
necessarily think it takes place in Wyoming specifically, but it does take place in that sort of Arizona desert situation for most of its runtime, which is very strange for the kind of Resident Evil horror game it was trying to be.
Hey, there's few places scarier than Arizona, so you know.
But that's the end of that part, and we'll see you guys all in the next one. So see you guys all then. Later.